Hi everyone, Anthony Fantano here, internet's busiest music nerd, and it's time for a review of the new Smith Westerns record, Soft Will. This is the third full-length LP from the Chicago, Illinois pop rock act. I first heard of them back in 2011 through their second full-length LP, Diet Blonde, an album that I enjoyed quite a few songs from. With this LP's catchy songwriting and really bubbly mood, it was easily some of the most blissed out indie pop of 2011. And it wasn't blissed out because of too much reverb or anything like that. Mostly it was candy-coated melodies, kaleidoscopic choruses that burst like fireworks. But even with all of this melodic beauty and just really strong pop sensibilities throughout these tracks, there was a small, very tiny element of sadness in the band's music. Like, as I was listening to these tracks, I was imagining every member of the band apathetically playing the songs with a single tear streaming down every one of their faces. For sure, there is a really sentimental element to their take on very jangly pop rock. There were quite a few tracks from their last record and this new record too that actually reminds me a bit of Girls' debut LP. However, this was not an album that I was totally head over heels for, that I was completely in love with. I felt that the vocals were sort of obscured and that some of the song's more ambitious, beautiful moments were really choked off by the sort of lo-fi recording quality. However, better recording quality comes through on Soft Will and sort of rides in and saves the day like a knight in shining armor, making Soft Will, I think, my favorite Smith Westerns record.
Well, as long as we're sharing favorites, the Wild Wild West is my favorite Will Smith Western.
I hate Cal Chichesta. But seriously, Soft Will is a pretty big improvement on the band's last record, I think, with the very boyish vocals, the slightly jangly guitar chords, the very sharp guitar leads all coming in loud and clear in HD, 1080p. The band does bring a good mix to their sound this time around. You could really swim through their really heavenly approach to rock music. And I think this clarity makes their mix of influences really obvious this time around too, and in a good way. Pop rock, psychedelic pop, piano rock, and I think a little bit of progressive rock too, with the song 23, the only instrumental on this album, sounding exactly like something Pink Floyd would have done, with some really epic guitar soloing and some slow drumming, ethereal piano keys. The only real downside to this track is that it doesn't really fit in with the flow of the rest of the album, which is pretty much just a very nice mixed bag of pop rock songs. And even though pop music, at least today, is stereotyped a lot to be very light and very breezy, at least I can tell that Smith Westerns really labored over these tracks, put them together, and really took a meticulous approach to writing these guitar melodies, whether it be lead one, the lead on top of that lead, the bass line underneath it all, the vocal melody, all of it really winding and intertwining, weaving ding 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 together and complementing one another at every turn in the song structure. I love the sparkling synth melodies all over the track, the opening track, 3 AM Spiritual, as well as the huge chorus vocals. Whoa, yeah. The bass feels really warm in the mix, the drums have a nice punch to them, the vocals are right up front and center in the spotlight, and the synthesizers add this indescribable thickness to this track and others too that really makes me feel like I'm listening to the band live and I'm seeing this fog roll in from a fog machine or maybe some laser lights. It's just this really beautiful extra piece of ambiance. And the piano change toward the end of the track that leads into a really great guitar solo, the band really switches things up suddenly in a very sort of Let It Be, Abbey Road type fashion. It's a great climactic ending with the vocals growing larger and larger and larger, and this is one of many tracks on this LP that actually has a pretty nice ending to it, with the band adding an extra guitar lead or totally changing the flow of the song, the groove of it up, like the song Idol, which introduces a totally different part of the song with a new vocal against these downstroke guitar chords, or Foolproof, which has one of the best guitar leads on this entire album. The band's ballads get incredibly slow and sort of dramatic too, with tracks like White Oath, which is one of the moments on this album where the lyrics really stand out, singing about chain smoking, your days away, writing poetry that no one ever really reads. And even though the lyrics here are pretty nice, the vocals do feel like the weakest link in the chain, where they're straining to reach a certain note, or maybe they're not really controlling the pitch that they're singing all that well. There's a really strong element of whininess, of wimpiness to the vocals that sort of reminds me of a very early Of Montreal record. records. But no matter what shortcomings Soft Will does deliver up from time to time, it's really the instrumentation, the production, and just the songwriting that shines through immensely. Because even on songs like Cheer Up and Best Friend, where I'm not totally in love with the vocals, I'm still completely enthralled with the melodies. I thought pretty much all of these songs were solid and incredibly enjoyable at its worst. This album is a really good summer record for 2013. I'm feeling a strong 7 to a light 8 on this thing. If you've given it a listen, what did you think of it? What should I review next? And that's it. This review is my opinion. If you don't like it, here's a straw. I want to give a shout out to people who have dreams about me, and Cal Truchesta, Mike Seatown, Zombie, and 160K. Thank you. Only the strong subscribe. All mistakes were intentional. Anthony Fantano, Smith Westerns, forever.